Hello, good evening. Good evening, good evening. All right, I'm live. All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everybody. Or good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're joining me from. All right, my name is Mary Beth Chima. I am the founder and convener of the group Parenting Through Mentorship. You can find us on Facebook and you can also find us on YouTube. Instagram, we do is here on Facebook. So if you join, oh, it's on Facebook, not just here on Facebook, because we are live on Instagram also. All right. So if you join us, please let us know you have joined us and let us know where you're joining from, and let us know if you're excited to be here. All right. So I introduced myself. I'm Maribeth Chima. I am the author of the children's book Bedtime Stories for Champions. Yes, I have also authored a journal and a planner because I am very huge on planning. Hi Unsu, I see you. I'm very huge on planning. And so today we let's just jump right into what we have today. Okay, so we said we're going to talk about the habits that we need to train in your children. Okay, so I sent a post, was it on WhatsApp or on my timeline? Okay, somewhere today, and I said if you go right on Google, right, or any other search engine, and you type habits of successful people on YouTube, you will see, you will see endless videos, endless posts, and all of that. You will see so many suggestions or so many things that are prescribed as habits for successful people. Okay, now we want to bring this down to our children. So because of course we are nurturing our children to become adults someday. Okay, we're not nurturing them to remain as children, we're nurturing them so that they can become adults someday. So let's change it and say the habits that we can nurture in our children today in order for them to be successful right now and be successful as adults. Now we can go back, as I said, to all these lists that we have on YouTube, on Google, the ones that you've had through motivational speakers that you've had from everyone, and there is no one that is wrong. These are actually habits that are important that we have and that our children have if they're going to be successful. Now the challenge is, how am I going to train these habits in my children? It is okay to say your children need to be productive. It's okay to say they need to be responsible. They need to manage time. They need to do all of these. Yes, it's okay to say that. Now the challenge or the problem is, how do I get them to be this, and that? What tools do I need? What strategies do I use? What do I do to get them to be this kind of people or to train this habit? Now, 95, experts have said that 95% of what you are, 95% of what we are as human beings is as a result of the habits that we have cultivated over the years. Okay, so if your child, if you're an adult and you are you are a certain way, you are just a product of the habits that you've nurtured or that you have practiced over the years. So whatever it is, whatever your status is, wherever you are in life, okay, you are there as a result of the habits that you have had over the years, as a result of the habits that you have nurtured over the years. So you are a product of your habits. So you see why it is very important that we begin to nurture the right kind of habits in our children. Because when we nurture habits, what this becomes is, it becomes a part of the person. The same thing you do over and over again is what becomes your habits, right? So if we start right now to introduce certain kind of habits to our children and then help them practice this habit over and over again, this habit soon becomes second nature. Okay, it soon becomes second nature. I was telling my friends the other day, okay, I've told the stories many times, how when I met my husband, right? When I met my husband, I would go visit him, and all of that. And every time I come and I drop my shoes, or I drop something that I brought, like my shoes or anything I bring around, probably I bring into his room and all that. After a while, I will come and I will notice that it's been kept in a very tidy way, in some sort of way, that you would just tell that, okay, someone deliberately kept it this way. Okay, it didn't take long before I realized that, it's a habit that it's a habit that he's been trained in, right, over the years. Same thing. In the years that I have known him, I have never, I can't, if he ever goes to work late, it's certainly, I don't even know. If you ask me right now, I can't put my finger and say, oh, this day or that day he went to work. No, he would rather not go at all than for him to go late. So most of the times, he will not even bring himself. Hi, Jennifer, good to have you here. So he will not even bring himself to that position, to that place where he has to decide whether to go at all because he's late. So in all the years that I have known him, I know this about him, that he will never, ever go late to work. And it's the same thing with church. So earlier, in the early years of our marriage, that in fact we still have that problem once in a while, right? The times that we have, he's upset with me, really, it's when I am not, when he's already looking at me and he's saying, the way this woman is going, she's going to make us late. He just doesn't like it. It's so bad or so good that even when we go for weddings, the way when you're going for a wedding, in your head as a woman, I don't know about you, in my head as a woman, I'm like, now we go clean the floor. Why do you, nobody goes to a wedding like early now. You need to go to you go to the reception when it's like a bit, but my husband, if the person, if the celebrant has told him 10 o'clock, he has to be there like before 10 o'clock, So this is because it's a habit that he has trained over the years, so much so that it has become, second nature. Okay, now, what is success really? What is success is really different for different people, right? So what you think is success, or what you define as success for you, might be different from what I define as success for myself, isn't it? Okay. I remember back in the day, one of my bosses, we were having a conversation one time, and I was complaining about my mom. Okay, I was complaining about my mom coming out to Abuja to have a break and all of that. Like, okay, where she's in Ogoja, and I feel, everything is like not very, everything is a bit backward there and all of that. She should come here and all that. And he turned and looked at me and said to me, MB, what you see as a good life is actually relative. Okay, so for your mom, probably going on a vacation, flying with her to America or going somewhere would probably not be, that probably doesn't mean a good life to her. Okay, so it is actually relative, and the problem is most times we like to put everything in the same box, and we want one size fits for everything, and so we want to think that, okay, what you think is a good life is what the next person thinks is a good life. What you think is success is what the next person thinks is success. So for some people, success could mean that as a woman, you hit jackpot and you marry a rich man, and so he provides everything for you and all that. In one of my platforms, we're having a conversation, and we came to that topic where we're talking about whether we turned out well or we didn't turn out well. And someone said to me that, she doesn't know about me. She turned out well. I'm like, okay, I didn't turn out well. I didn't turn out well at all. Because if you want to know if we turned out well as a society, just go out and look at what's happening there. So the fact that 5, 10 or 2%, 2, 3, 4, 5% of us, okay, have a certain life, or we think we have certain things that we need, basic things that we need, or we have arrived. We have a cute house, you have a good job, you have children, you have a husband, and all of that. You have money to go on vacation once in a while and all that. If that for you is turning out well, okay, you can't use it and say that our society turned out well, because, hey, that's just a teeny weeny percentage of us who even have that might not necessarily mean that we turned out well. Because if mentally, we are struggling, if we're not empathic as a people, if we are corrupt, if all of these things are happening, then you can't come and say we turned out well. Because, so Basically, what I was trying to say is relative. So it's the same way with success, right? Success can be relative. For one person, it could be that, okay, you got a good job, you got all of that. For another person, it could be that you have reached the point, right, where you can impact, you can make a difference, you are happy at what you are doing, and all of that. For some people, it could be a state of mind, well-being. I mean, your health-wise, you're well, your well-being is okay, you're mentally okay, and all of that. So it's relative, okay? Whatever this is for you, I guess it will all come back and be tied to our values. Okay, so how successful you think you are, or your perception of success, is hinged on your set of values. As I said, for some people, it could just be that you marry a wife that is from a rich home, and so all of a sudden, your father-in-law, and all of that, there's money to spend, oh, you're successful. Or the other way for a woman too. All right. So, however, whatever success means to you, some of these habits, right, are things that should not be missing, okay, in a person before we say that that person is successful. Okay. These habits are the kind of a habit you want to train in your children, whatever your perspective of success is, okay, whatever they will come to see as success tomorrow, it has to have some of these habits present in it. Okay, so the number one, okay, we're going to look at 10 of them quickly, and we are going to see how we can relate this to our children, or what we can do with our children, right, to help them imbibe this habit, or to help us nurture this habits in them. So the number one habit we'll be looking at is setting goals and planning. Okay, you need to teach your children to set goals and to plan to achieve those goals. If we are not teaching children how to set goals and to achieve goals, we will find out that, there's a saying that if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And I say this to my children a lot of the times. If you do not have a destination, you will end up hovering around. So because of that, we set goals. In my home, we set daily goals. We set monthly goals, and we set goals for half-year goal. Okay, we don't set yearly goals. We just do it halfway. Okay, and then in June we review our goals, and then we set for the second half of the year. Why are we doing this? Because I have said to the children, or we have said to the children over and over again, if you don't have goals, then you will just do anything, and you will go about, and you will not have a target. Another thing is, how do you motivate someone when there is nothing that is an expectation? So how do you set expectations for your children when there are no goals? So when you're not setting goals, you find that anything goes, and the child gets to the point where the child mediocrity sets in. There is no challenge, or there is nothing to work towards. So when there's nothing to work towards, anything that they do is just fine for them. Okay, when there's nothing to work towards, anything they do is just fine. So you're trying something, or you are working on a project, and because you're working on a project, and because you don't have a goal, you don't have where you're going with that project, so you do, and the project doesn't turn out well, you're like, oh well, I tried. Okay, we're not saying that you beat yourself every time you don't hit a goal, but let that be something that you are that the child is looking forward to. Let this be something that the child is working towards. Let there be a target that the child is hoping to reach. That's where the child is motivated. Okay, so that brings me to the why behind your goal. So for every goal that you set with the children, for every goal that you have the children set, you want to ask them for the why behind their goal. The why becomes the motivation. Oh God, third world country. All right. We just had a power cut. Just give me a few minutes. I'm sure they will do something. All right. So I'll just keep talking, right, so that we just don't have. For those of you watching me from the abroad, yes, we still have this situation in Nigeria. All right then. So Basically, if there is no goal, then there is no destination. If there is no goal, then there's probably nothing to motivate the child. So you want the child to know the why behind the goal, or you want to teach the child, right, to have a why behind every goal, so that the why becomes the push. The why becomes the reason why they want to achieve that goal. The why becomes the reason they wake up every morning, they don't stop how tired they are. My son will wake up every morning and will say to me, I am tired. And then I say to him, hey, buddy, we are all tired in the morning. That's it. The body, it takes some time for the body to get used to being awake. Okay, but you need to know how to push yourself. Okay, why do you even need to get up from that bed? Why do you need to get up from that bed? Let the why behind why you need to get off that bed be the reason why you jump off that bed, basically. So you want your children to know the why behind their goal. Okay, now you want to even take it a notch. Okay, you want to take it a notch and even put a motivation behind their whys, okay, behind their goals. So when children set goals, especially at this time of the year, the beginning of the year, when your children set goals, sorry, one second, the guy is more important to me. All right, sorry. Okay, so when children set goals, right, especially at this time of the year, let them even put a motivation behind the goal. Let there be something, a reward, right? Let there be like a reward. So let's say I was speaking to to people in our everyday parenting journey. We have a program that we do every month of the year, right? For each month, we have a habit or a skill or some parenting challenge that we are dealing with. So we work with parents through, every day. We give them tools, we give them strategy. Okay, thank goodness. So every day we give them tools, we give them strategies. Sorry. Is this good enough? Or we're gonna reduce it. Okay, so for every day we give these parents, right? Sorry about that, okay? All right, so for every day we give these parents, I think it's a bit. So for every day, we give these parents tools and strategies that they can use in that area. So for this month, we've been working on setting goals, right? For this month, we've been working on setting goals, how to actualize your goals, attach, actionable plans to your goals, okay? How to create a vision board so that you can put your goals up somewhere where you can visualize it, right? How to create family values, because you need those values to direct the goals that you will create and all of that. How to create parenting goals, what you want to do as a parent to become there. You would also create, your children will also create goals, and then after they have created their goals, then you will create how you intend to support them to achieve those goals. So that's what we've been doing with this group of parents in the last part of January, and we're about to come to an end, with that. Okay, so for next month, we're going to be doing something. Right, so I was telling, them, right? I was telling, what was I? I lost it. I lost track of my thoughts there. All right, so basically, yes, I was saying to them, right, when you are creating goals with your children, when your children are creating goals, try to encourage them not to create too many goals. If your children can create 1, 2, or 3 goals for the whole of 2021, and you can stay consistent, right? You can stay consistent, you can train the habits behind that goal, behind achieving that goal, right? And you can be consistent about it. And at the end of the year, the children are able to achieve that 1 thing or 2 things. You have done so well. Okay, you have done so well if that is it. So what you want to do is, for that 1 or 2 goals, you want to put a motivation behind it. So by June, half year, if you're able to go 30 or 50%, this is what will be rewarded. Okay, so my son runs a small business, right? And for this year, he has set a target for his business, right? For this year, he has set a target for his business. And he set that target himself. He decided what it is that he wants to earn with business. And of course, he went ahead and created actionable plans to achieve that. So as one of his plans, he has to reach more customers. So he's going to go beyond his regular customers that have subscribed to a number of bottles. He actually sells juice, right? Okay, he produces and sells natural, okay, organic juice. That's what he calls it. Right now, he has a number of people who have subscribed, and he supplies to them like every weekend. Right, so these are his constants. So what he has decided to do this year is he has decided to spread his reach and get more people beyond the number of people who are already his customers right now. That's because he has raised the bar, and his target for this year is high, and he knows that for him to reach that target, then he needs more customers. Now, if he achieves that, he has what he's going to gift himself at the end of June if he's able to meet his target. So that becomes the motivation. So you can do the same for whatever goals it is that your children are setting. Put a motivation. Let them know the why behind the goal, and then put motivation to it. This will help them. This will be a reason for them to rise up every day and then go for that goal. Remember, if they don't have goals, then they do not. It's like not having a destination. And a person without a destination will be found loitering around or hovering all around the place. Okay, so number one habit you want to train in your children is to have them set goals. I said we even set daily goals. So after setting the goals for the year or for the half year, we break it down into what we need to do, right? What we need to do to achieve that goal. Now we break it further to what we need to do every day. Okay, and that's where our 360-degree journal comes in. So with this journal, we have 6 different areas that we're working on as a family. So in this journal, every day we register something that we have done in this different area. Okay, so we have leadership skill. So for every day, we have something that we do towards training leadership habits in my children. So in this journal, I go to the leadership area, and then this journal is for me, it's not for the children. This is my support journal, how I am supporting the children. Okay, so it is my responsibility to ensure that the children are meeting up with the plans that they have created, right? And they are meeting up with the goals that they have. They're doing everything to help them reach their goal. So I become the person who reminds them subtly. I become the person who helps them trace their attention, or help them retract and go back to their goals and the plans that they have. Okay, now for every day, I come here and I record the efforts that they make. So even for days that I'm not around, I come back home, and in the evening I need to record in the journal, and I ask them, so what did you do towards your academic goal for today? Oh, I was able to understand fraction that I have been trying to, that is the goal. The goal is to understand everything around fraction. Okay, my daughter is trying to understand addition, words problem, addition using tens and units, addition using blocks. Okay, blocks and all of that. So she's doing all of these, addition, carrying over, and all of that. So that's her goal in math, right? So for every day we finish working, right, whether it's me working with her or her brother working with her, at the end of the day we come here, and in the journal we record she was able, right? That's where we have the action plan, okay, or the action. We go there and we write she was able to carry over today, okay, and then write whatever the challenge is, okay. And then before then, there is our goal for the month, right? Based on our goal for the month, the children are able to create an affirmation, and the affirmation goes something like this: I am Adachuku, I am a child of God. So I wake up in the morning and I say thank you to God, something like that. Okay, I am strong and I can do anything I put my mind to. I know addition and I put my best into achieving all my sums. Something like that. Based on the goals that they've set, they're able to create a 3-4 line affirmation that they say to themselves every morning after breakfast. So that's what we do with this journal. Very, 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 very impressive tool, basically. Okay, so that's how we use the journal. right? So I have exhausted, I hope I've exhausted everything around, creating goals. Creating goals is very important. You want your children to create daily goals, you want them to create monthly goals, and things like these, tools like this will help make it easy. Okay, tools like this will help make it easy. It's because we don't have tools a lot of the times. We don't have things that will point us, okay, towards what we can do to empower our children. That's why many times we just turn the other way, and complacency sets in, and we don't do anything extra about these things. Like every other thing, like your job, like your skill, like every other thing, effort needs to be put into parenting for you to get the required result. A parent who is intentional and makes effort every day, and a parent who isn't, okay, or who just assumes that parenting is intuition or is intuitive, you can't get the same result. Quote me anywhere, okay? So that is it about planning. So the next thing you want to do is responsibility. You want to you want to grind into your children the habit of taking responsibility for their action. Now, in my home, when something is wrong, I do not ask questions like, who puts this here or who did this. The children know it. So I come into the kitchen and the kitchen is a mess. I come in and I'm like, ooh, this kitchen is a mess. I'll go to my room, and when I come back, please, it should be better, because you don't leave a place worse than you met it. You leave it better than you met it. So I don't care who made the mess. I don't care what happened. I don't care how we got there. What is important is, if you got into that kitchen, then you cannot leave the kitchen worse than you met it. So because of this, you see that thing you have in homes, or that I had growing up, where you come in, who did this? Not me, not me, not me. Everybody goes, not me, not me, not me. I don't have it here. It's not allowed. It's not acceptable. So when I have my nieces, or people come in to be with us, okay, for some time, when they come in, okay, that's one of the first things that they learn when they come to be with us. Okay, the moment they come, I come in and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? This isn't right. They'll be like, no, it's either it's Kamsi's mommy, it's Kamsi and all that. I'm like, oh, sorry, honey, it doesn't happen around here. Here, if you have seen it and you didn't fix it, it means it is okay for you. So if you thought it was wrong, it's two things. You either get the children to fix it in a very nice way, okay? Get the children to fix it in a very, I don't do control. We don't do control. So don't yell at them, don't shout at them. Let them know why they need to clear the place. If you're not going to do that, then hey, go ahead and do it yourself. So either way, we are teaching and we are taking responsibility. Okay, so for the kids, it's as simple as that. You must take responsibility for your action, or you must take responsibility for the environment or for the things around you. So for the older person, I would expect you to be there to point the younger person towards what they have probably done wrong, or what they need to do better, or what they need to fix, okay, or how they need to fix the mess that they've made. You should be there to make them do that, or to teach them to do that, okay? Because we believe strongly that for children to learn, the adult needs to be present to help them learn. For children to regulate, the adult needs to be able to regulate, and in that way, you're able to teach them to regulate. So when you come and you're shouting and you're screaming and you're making a big fuss, you're going to teach the child to do the same thing when he's dealing with another child or a younger person. And so the circle just continues, right? The cycle continues. One person yelling, an older person yelling, and then the less older, younger person yelling, and then like that, everybody is yelling. So this is what we do. You take care of it, or you get the older person to do it in a kind or in a calm way. All right. So in the same vein, when I go to school with the kids, when I go for parents teachers conference, okay, at the end of the term, when the results are ready and all of that, when I go there, but you can't find me. I don't do. What happened here? Why did you score this? Why did you score that? Why did you do that? In fact, when the teacher hands the result, I tell him to, I mean, him or her, well, I tell them to hand it to the child. And then he goes and he looks at it and I tell to him, like, is that you? I mean, does that represent you? And it's like, oh, are you okay with it? It's your responsibility. It's not me. Okay. So are you okay with the result? Do you like it? Do you think you did well? Did you give it your best? Did you give it your best shot and all that? And then he goes, yeah, everything is okay. But for French, I think I need to work more. And that and that and that, and then we go home. It's only when I get home really that I take time and look through, so that I know if the child has got any challenge. Then we can have a conversation where I would ask you questions like, oh, I notice you're struggling, or it looks like you're struggling with French. Okay, it looks like you're struggling with French. What's the issue? What's the problem? Because it could be that he doesn't understand what the teacher teaches. It could be that he doesn't get the support that he needs. It could be that he needs extra support. It could be anything. So I'm not going to jump into conclusions. I'm going to ask him direct questions, and so that he can tell me. And then when we finish doing that, ask him, is there any way I can help you? Is there any way you would want me to help you? Because if a child is struggling or a child is challenged, what the child needs is not being to be shamed or being or to be judged. It's to be supported and to be helped to surmount that challenge. Okay, but for you to help them surmount that challenge, you must teach them how to take responsibility for whatever it is, for their failure, for their successes, for their mistakes, for their challenges, whatever it is. So my 5-year-old knows this. It's okay. You can take, I mean, sometimes she takes the cereal and she spills it, or she's trying to get water and she spills and all of that. It's very simple. Very simple. You have done that. All you need to do is probably, apologize and then fix your mess. So you pour cereal, it's okay. You will get a broom and you sweep it. So you see my 5-year-old with her packer struggling to, fix it. But let me know first. And after that, you fix your mess. So teach children to take responsibility for their actions and then help them recognize that after making a mess, the next thing is that you fix your mess. So that's way children are not, I hate that thing, okay? As a teacher, I hate that thing when my children, as an educator, I hate that thing when the children fail, or when they fail, or they have, they think they've messed up. I hate it when a child begins to cry and says, my mother will kill me, my father will kill me. So a lot of time the child doesn't get remorseful per se, or the child is not looking at what the problem is and all of that. The child is more concerned. It's fear that is the issue. My father will kill me, my mother, I don't like it. You won't hear my children say things like that, because the atmosphere at home is come with your joys and come with your pains, come with your woes and come with your wins. Okay? What is important is that you're ready to you're ready to support the child and to teach the child to do differently in the future. So if you're someone that, if you're not making children take, if you're constantly scolding and you're constantly scolding, you're constantly judging, you're constantly beating them for mistakes, what you're doing to them is you're not going to allow them come to you with those mistakes, meaning you're not going to allow them take responsibility for those mistakes and then look for ways to fix them genuinely. All right? Yes. So the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you teach your children how to manage their time. Okay, as I said earlier on, hit anywhere and you will find all these habits. Search anywhere and you'll find the habits. It is not in knowing the habits, it is in how we can train these habits. And that's what we're looking at today. How we can train these habits, and trying to use personal experiences, right, that I have, okay, to give you ideas, okay, and you can share some of yours that you use, okay, in the comments, so that we are all learning and we all have more tools available to us. Okay, so time management has been a big one for me and my 11-year-old, my son. He's 11 now. So time management has been an issue. Okay, because I keep feeling that I keep saying to my son, you do not have respect for time. You do not have respect for time. But I had to be sincere to myself. Okay, I had to be sincere to myself at some point. How is he going to have respect for time when I do not exactly, I couldn't hit my chest and say that I could manage my time per se, because I was always the one that my husband would get upset with on Sundays when we have to go to church running late. Okay, I was the one that, I mean, when we have to go out, I have to start rushing, and at that point everybody's restless because we're rushing. Okay, so I had to create goals around this. I had to say to myself, I had to be truthful to myself. Even you don't manage your time yet. So how are you going to teach this child to manage his time well? Okay, so what I did is, of course, I said to the children, I know my triggers. Okay, I know my triggers when I wake up in the morning, and then we're stressed for time and we're jumping all around the place. So what did we start doing? What we started doing is we prepare all we need for the next day the night before. Okay, so even cleaning the house, we do 60% to 70% of the work at home. So the children get to sweep the house. They get to sweep the house, just before they go to bed, right? So we finish doing reading for the night and all of that, and then we call it teamwork. So teamwork, and everybody takes their position and quickly ta 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 ta. That's when during the holidays and all that we do this a lot, right? Now, when it's cold and we're getting beyond 8:30 to 9, I would tell the children to go, and then my niece and I would do the rest of it. Okay, and a lot of times my niece would just do it alone, okay, if she can handle it. So basically we try to like sweep out at night. So we sweep out at night, okay, except of course you have someone who comes to do it and all of that. But it still applies with the children. They can pack their bags for next day, the previous day. So they can pack their bags, they can make sure their uniforms are in place, what they need to wear to church is in place and ironed in the night before. So when you wake up in the morning, all you're doing is you're just grabbing your bag, or they're just grabbing their bag and they are moving. Okay, another thing is even the food that you cook, you could prepare the food 50%, 60%. Okay, so you can boil the rice, boil the spaghetti, or any other thing that you're packing for school or for lunch or something, and then in the morning all you need to do is just stir fry it and you are gone. Okay, so basically you want to take the load right off. You want to reduce what it is, right, that you need to do in the morning, so that when it's morning you don't get into that frenzy, and all of that. Because of course it is important that our children wake up with the right energy and they carry that energy through their day. Okay, so by the time you start, I've said it many times. So what I do is I need him up at 6. I will start trying to wake him up at 5:40. Okay, and what I do is I eulogize him. I come in and I'm like, who is here? Is he my dude? Okay, is he my dude? Is it Jesus, baby? Is it the one that is impacting the world? Is it the one that is creating solutions? Is it the one? So I just go on and on hailing him and all of that and all of that, and before you know it, he begins to laugh and all that, and then we're able to get him off bed. Okay, so we do that just so that, and then when they wake up, I put time. We do everything in blocks. Okay, we do everything in blocks. So from 6 to 6:30, you should have finished making your bed, sweeping out your room, and then having a bath. Okay, from 6:30 to 7, you should have finished dressing up, having breakfast, and then short devotional. Short prayer in the morning, and then your affirmation, and in the car at 7 we move. Okay, so it could be anything like that, whatever works for you and your family. But what you want to do is we want to make sure that your mornings are light, okay, so that your children go with the right energy. So put things in blocks like that, and then put set time to things, set times time to whatever it is that they do. Okay, so my son runs a small business. Okay, he runs a juice making he has a juice making company, right? So what we do is for production, he starts producing on Thursday. So what we do is production is put at 1 hour. So for 1 hour we're going to produce. So production is between 4 and 5. So the moment we walk into the kitchen to produce, we know that we have 1 hour to produce. So we go in there, 1 hour, pa, pa, pa. At the end of 1 hour, we stop. Okay? Because you want to teach them how to manage their time. So it's the same thing. So we have structures at home. Of course, we have structures at home. We've created structures at home, and that's because we have templates that help us to create the structures easily. Okay, I have advertised and I've put the templates. Okay, we have a pack of templates that has over, how many templates do we even have in that pack? Yeah, creating structures, right? They're templates that will help you create structures in your home. They have routines, they have schedules, they have reward system, right? Actions and consequences. It's a lot of different templates that you can just print on the card. You can print on the card and you can put it up somewhere in a focal point or on your family board where everybody sees it, and it becomes, what do you call it? It helps, right, to create the structure that you want in your home. So you don't need to be there for your home to still run, whether you're there or not. We still have those templates. If you want them, they're e-copies. We can send them, and then you can send it to your printer to print in hard copies. Okay, it's just 1,500 naira to have them, and you'll be glad you have it. Okay, so you use that and then you create, structures in your home. That is how you teach your children how to manage their time. When there are blocks, you block the time for everything, for different things. Even their playtime, let their playtime be blocked. My daughter plays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So she knows. So from time to time, she just walks up to you and she says to you, "Mommy, what time is it? What time is it?" I mean, outdoor play now. So she can be creating something inside the house or doing something inside the house or reading a book. Okay. And then she comes and she goes, "Hi, honey, I see you, darling." Okay. All right. Thank you for joining me. All right. So whatever it is, create blocks for this time, block of time, right? So she comes in and she's asking you, "Mommy, what time is it? What time is it?" Is because she wants to go outdoor and play. So outdoor play is between 4 and 6 p.m. So for the record, it's there. So even when I'm not there and it's my niece who is at home with them, or it's just, the kids, at 4 p.m., they know it's okay to go out. Some days they will call and say, "Oh, Mommy, it's 4 p.m. Can we go out now?" But basically, because it's a standard, there is no need for "who told you to go out" and all of that, because it's a standard, it just works. So when you have structured like that, you find that your home is running, because all we want at home is we want a peaceful place, and we want, whatever we're doing, that we're teaching our children the right habits, and we're teaching them life lessons that they will hold and they will use for the rest of their lives. Okay, so when you create these boundaries, you create structures, what you're doing, and then you create time blocks, you'll be teaching your children how to manage their time. And this is the habits that they would take, okay, they will take and apply when they become CEOs of companies. They will take and apply when they become employees. They will take and apply when they become people of authority. Okay, so you find out you meet certain people in your office, or you meet them in the course of your business and all of that, and you can just realize, you can just see everybody that knows this person just knows that this person and time. This person and time, you can't joke with this person when it comes to time. Everybody just knows that this person doesn't play with time. There's a kind of respect that is attached, right, to you, just knowing that, this person, okay, is someone who has a deep respect for time. And it doesn't happen overnight. It really doesn't happen overnight. It's habits. They're habits that must have been nurtured. And the best way to nurture these habits in your home is for you to have structures, for you to have blocks of time. Okay, block the time for different things. That way you will not come and say, "Oh, this child, he plays too much. He likes to play. What can I do? He's playing too much," and all that. No, the child knows when it's time to play, when it's time to, you block it and then you stay consistent, because that's the other thing, being able to stay consistent. All right. Then the next one is you want a daily spiritual habit. You want to create a daily spiritual habit in your home because you want to direct your children towards a supreme being. So whatever it is that is your belief, okay? Because what this does is it helps our children, it helps us stay grounded. When there is a belief in higher being, okay, there's a belief in a higher being, whatever I'm using a higher being, okay, because I know they're from different religions around here. Okay, I'm Christian, of course, I believe in God and I believe in Christ, I believe in salvation and all of that. So this is what I am stepping down to my children. Okay, I believe in the Holy Spirit. Okay, so I'm teaching my children they need to have, they need to have the guidance of the Holy Spirit. They need the Holy Spirit to direct them, to guide them, and all that. So I teach them about that small voice that talks to you when you're about to do something wrong. So now these are the kind of things that will keep your children grounded. So whenever you teach your children anything, you want to tie it, okay? You want to tie it to your religious belief. It's going to be the extra thing, okay, or the biggest thing that will keep your child grounded. So how do you do this? You can't say that because most times you tell them to set goals. The first thing you say, we believe in God and God is everything to us. If God is everything to you and you believe in God and this is big and is top on your set of family values, then you must have practices in your home that points your children, that your children will just know, or anybody that knows you will just know that God is a big deal for you. Okay, so you want to create, you want to block time, okay, you want to block time in your schedules, okay, and create routines around you. Just about 5-10 minutes, and we do that with daddy. Okay, so we come as a family and we pray for tops 10 minutes. Okay, so we just say our prayers, we read a Bible verse, and then we talk a little. Okay, it's either daddy or I just talking a little about it. When we have time, sometimes we allow the children tell us what they can take away from the verse, just a very short one. Okay, so we do that in the morning just so that we pray together as a family. All right, now in the afternoon the children have 30 minutes. Okay, in the afternoon we have 30 minutes that we also thing that we do, and then we study the scriptures individually. So my 11-year-old has his devotional and then he goes with it. I've never 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 week, basically something like that. So basically, he goes on his own and then he reads a scripture and then he tries to understand that scripture and then he meditates on the scripture. My little girl is 5, so she will come to me and we will do it together. My niece is with us and she does the same thing. This is for the holidays now because, of course, we have been home a lot. I mean, thanks to COVID. So this is it. So everything goes off at 2 and everybody goes to have devotion. So they do this for 20 minutes. And then for the last 10 minutes, they come to me and then you just talk to me about what is, right? You talk to me about what it is that you read today or you meditated on, and if you have any question you want to ask, you can ask me, and if they don't have questions, I sometimes will just ask them, okay, what they took away from that thing that they read. So basically that is it. We're just trying to nurture that part, okay? And then of course Sundays and then during the week we have programs that we go for and all that. So basically you want to create, you want to create consistency around this. Also, you want to have this religious practice so recently my son got a new mentor. Super excited about it. Okay, so my son got a new mentor, and for the season in his life, he's a preteen, so we thought it was time to start looking at life from a broader perspective and all that. So we got him a mentor that is a mentor that has about the same interest, okay, that has about the same interest as my son. So I had to look very carefully, okay. So my son loves, he loves to work with a computer and all of that. This person is an IT person that has done so well and is still doing well in that field. Okay, my son is a preteen right now, so adolescence is creeping in. This person is someone that has a spiritual background and and all of that. So it was. Then my son is into public speaking and all of that. And then this person is an embodiment of, an embodiment of high self-esteem, and all of that. So, I couldn't, when I thought of asking this person to mentor my son, I prayed to God that he would say yes. So recently he came to me and said to me how prayer has saved him over and over again. Okay, prayer saved him over and over again. So I want to wake up in the morning and be able to pray on my own first, and then be able to read a scripture verse. I want to pray more. I want to cultivate the habit of praying more in your children. Okay, this class is supposed to be for 1 hour. All right, let's go quickly. The next one is self-discipline. Oh my goodness, all these things we're talking about is going to be useless if you don't teach your children how to have self-discipline. Okay, they need to have delayed that. So my kids do not watch TV throughout the week. They only watch TV during the weekend. Now, my niece came to be with us last year. She came that. So she came in and all of that. But because there was a policy at home, because we had this policy already running, she came in and she had to conform. She came in and she had to conform. So gradually, sometimes I would say to her, okay, those times earlier, when the kids now go to sleep, she's finished school, she just waited to go to the university. When the kids finish, go to bed and all that, I'm doing that. Okay, so one day I decided to have a conversation with her. I'm like, what something? I didn't say don't watch TV. You can go ahead and watch me. And she's like, I know, auntie. There's just, it's nothing. So all of a sudden, TV is nothing. So now she's able to control herself, right? It started from the boundaries that we had put in place. People will say, I will tell them not to watch, but when I go, they will put it on. Lie. It doesn't happen it can't happen in my home. Like, don't turn on the TV and you turn on. They can't. They won't even go there. Even my 5-year-old won't even go there. My 5-year-old will ask you on a Thursday, Mommy, what day is it today? And I'm like, oh, it's Thursday. Oh, okay. Okay, TV day is from tomorrow evening, right? So basically, when you put these things as policies, you sit down and you agree on these policies together with the children. Then let them. I would have just brought a house that my daughter was creating the other day. Oh my goodness. All right, so just, sorry, there's a power cut again. Just bear with me. All right, so basically, because there isn't TV time, you find them doing a lot of coloring, a lot of painting, a lot of creating stuff. They create stuff with cardboard papers and all of that. We create science models. We do all of this because we have enough time to do it. Why is that? Because we are not watching TV. So what you want to do is you want to give your children, okay? You want to give them, a reason to do other things, right? You want to give them a reason to do other things with their time, more creative things, more effective things, okay? With their time, rather than just stay stuck up on television. And when you're doing this, what you're doing is you are teaching your children self-discipline. So your child is able to discipline himself. Okay, my son was telling me the other day how he was playing a game with his friend, the games they play online and all of that, and that one of his friends, they were putting a game, they scheduled a game for a time that was past his bedtime, and that he said to his friends that, oh, sorry, he won't be able to join them because that was past his bedtime, or he needed to, I think they started playing the game or something like that, and then he got to a point and said, oh, sorry, he had to go, it's his bedtime. And then one of his friends was like, like, Kamsi is a good boy, he even has bedtime, and he's even keeping to it without anybody, without his mommy chasing him, something like that. So basically, when you create these boundaries, okay, when you create these boundaries and you let them know these boundaries, okay, and then you agree on these boundaries, you find that it soon becomes habits. And you don't have to be somewhere and be worried that your children will do differently. And this is the same habits that they will carry even when they're away from your home. Okay, so boundaries very important. Is what's going to save your child when the child is 14. Is what's going to save the child when the child is 16. Is what's going to save the child when the child is in a university, when the child is many miles away from you. The ability to have boundaries or to stay within boundaries is what's going to save your child. We have blocks of time for almost everything. So my children have the time that they study. I've told somebody, or I've said it before, that since my son to prepare for exams, I don't do that. I stopped doing that since like year 3 or so. I stopped doing that because hey, there's this time for you to study, you must. Okay, and then I start my 5-year-old now. We will start working, and while we're working, right from when she was 3, while we're working, I'll take excuse and I'm like, oh, sorry, let me do something in the kitchen, and I'll tell her, just do the remaining 2 sums. Okay, when I come, you show me. So she goes on and she's doing it. And by the time I come, she's done. If there's anything to be corrected, I will correct it, and then I give her another set, and then I walk away. Not saying do it yourself. I'm not going to stay there. I just walk away, like make excuses for why I need to go away. What I'm doing is I'm teaching her to be self-reliant, and I'm teaching her how to, I'm teaching her how to be self-reliant. I'm teaching her how to discipline herself, to stay on task, and all of that. So all this habit is not in putting a board in front, or every time giving children scripture, giving children sermons. It's not sitting children down and giving them sermons every time. You need to be self-disciplined. Self-discipline you. And no. It's not in all that talk. After a while, they get tired. When you open your mouth in their head, it's like, not again. So you don't want to do that. You want tools. You want strategies. You want to put it in your everyday life. You want to teach them these skills through your everyday life. Okay, I've just told you I've taught my children how to be independent. I've taught them, it starts with their schoolwork. I walk away and I come in. So since year 3, no, I don't stay there. My son does his thing, even during exams. He does his exams and all of that. And then when I'm driving, if you have any questions or you have any challenge, please let me know. We'll look at it together. And then after that, I am gone. And then on our way to school, I'm driving. I'm like, oh, hope you prepared for your exam well and all that. And that's because I want to demystify exam. I don't want it to be a case where a child is just loofing around the whole time. And then when it's exam period, the child is all over the place, jumping around and all that. So I don't get special lesson teachers to come and stay with my children because they're preparing, as in during exams. Yes, when it's a major exam, like a common interest or something, yeah, maybe, because the scope could be beyond what the child has learned in school. You may want to consider things like that. But apart from that, teach your child to gain stamina. Teach your child to practice, to keep practicing, studying alone, doing stuff by himself. That is how they become confident and they build stamina. Okay, another one is reading. There is no time I come here to say anything that somehow I don't go back to reading, because reading is a skill that's successful. Successful people read. That's the truth about it. Successful people read. In fact, there are people that are constantly developing themselves and all of that. So you must teach your children to have a love for reading. You must nurture the habit of reading. So that brings us to our everyday parenting journey for the month of February. So for the month of February, what we're doing is we're going to be cultivating the reading habit in your children. So we're going to start from the 6th of February to the end of February, every day, giving you tools that you can use to get your children to cultivate the habit of reading. So we'll start from the 6th, and every day there will be a tool. Every day there will be something you can do with your children. We will report this. We will help you if you need to talk. Basically, you'll be different tools, varying tools that you will use, and at the end of the day, you will know you help the child snap into it. And then after that, you will have to be consistent, and you have to stay there and be consistent with it. So what we're going to do with World Parenting Journey is reading. Okay, is reading. So usually, the flyer will be out. It's 3,500 naira to join this month's cohort. So with 3,500 naira early bird price, okay, yes, so you can be with us, and we'll be with you for a whole 3 weeks, almost for a month. Right, for the entire month, we will be with you, working with you, giving you suggestions, telling you what to do, prescribing, books and all of that. We will do all of that, holding your hand throughout the month for you to help your child cultivate the habit of reading. All right, so if you would want to be a part of that program, please just put it in the comments that you would like to be a part of the program, and we will let you know how you can join that program. So what we do is we overprotect our children. We protect them because we have all the excuses why we need to protect them. Oh, the society is wrong. Oh, a lot of things are going on. Oh, the children cannot cook. Oh, I don't want them in the kitchen. Oh, I don't want them to cut on themselves. The children cannot use knife. Oh, I don't want them to cut their hand. The children cannot do. Now what you are doing is your child is 8. You're not allowing him to take risks. He's 10, he's 11, he's 12, he's 15, he's 16, he's still not taking risk. Then at 16, your house help is not around or someone is not around. And then all of a sudden you need help or you need something. And then you're calling your 16-year-old to help you. And the 16-year-old, in fact, you're not even calling. The 16-year-old is there. You need something and he's not even offering to do it. There's no food in the house and he's not even offering to stand up and do the cooking. Okay, because over the years you have not even taught or you have not even allowed the child to even try now. So why are you helping? Why are you asking him to? So he's not even going to try, he's not even going to bother. So before you know, you're ordering food and all of that, or you're entering the kitchen yourself and stressing because of course you can't make your 15-year-old do it, and your 15-year-old is not even interested in doing it. Okay, now apart from that, parents will argue with you and say, oh, these children don't have to do it. I mean, is there anyone that doesn't know how to boil water now? Is there anyone that doesn't know how to cook now? Is there anyone that, I mean, with time these things will fall in place? But what we have forgotten is in trying these things that our children gain independence. Is in trying these things that our children gain confidence. Is in trying these things that our children learn to rely on their ability and on their abilities. It's in trying these things that our children learn to take risk. So if our children don't do these things, it is okay. It is okay. They are not, I mean, nothing is going to happen. When they get married, they will cook whether they like it or not, isn't it? Or when they start staying alone, they will cook whether they like it or not. When they have children, they will nurse them whether they like it or not. When they have, I mean, eventually, all this more important than just looking at just that particular thing. So when you allow your child, the water heater, in 14, 15-year-old, you are there protecting the child. I don't want them to. The child is not taking risk. Okay? You think in the kitchen, hey, I don't want to, before they want my kitchen, the child is not taking risk. So in the same way, your child is 22 and your child is going to be playing safe. The child will go to an organization and he will not think productively, and he will not think outside the box, and he will not think of an innovation. He will not think of what he can bring to the table because he's afraid of bringing something and causing trouble. He's afraid of making that mistake because you have protected and shielded the child, and you have made the child focus more on not making mistakes as opposed to focusing on making or doing or inventing or trying. So yes, yes, I mean, my son, my 11-year-old will boil water and have his bath if there's no water in the heater. My 11-year-old almost burnt my kitchen during the COVID lockdown. Yes, I mean, by the time he finished with my kitchen, everywhere was black. My kitchen was looking all black, soup everywhere because he was trying to cook. I was able to, I mean, thank goodness it wasn't bad enough. I wasn't at home. I just got in and all that happened. But we learned our lessons, and that's what you're doing this for. They don't achieve any results and all of that. And then when you ask them, they will tell you how they've been busy. Oh yeah, now you've been busy. What is the result of your busyness? Okay, so very important, very key. We want our children to be result oriented. Okay, then you need to teach your children frugality. Let your children learn not to waste things. Teach your children not to waste things. The fact that you have enough, the fact that you have too much, or the fact that their parents are rich, she doesn't mean that they should treat things anyhow and waste things anyhow. It is that they have in their hands. Very, very, very important. All right, stretch days by a few more minutes. What you work with and anyone that is in your home can work with even when you're not there. You can have that. Okay, we still have bedtime stories for champions to get your children thinking with the right mindset. Very, 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 very important. And as I said, I am big on planning. Planning your parenting journey, your children's journey, or what it is you want to achieve with your children. Hi, Benny. Thanks for joining. Hi, Seme Chinenye. Okay, thanks for joining. Oh, okay. So this you can use to create plans ahead. So for every phase that you get with your children, it is already done, already thought. Thought through. So it's like meditating. People who meditate will tell you they're able to close their eyes and look, beyond, and look at, you look at your day, you see how your day is going to go and all of that, because you've been able to put yourself through that journey. When you wake up in the morning and you get right to work, you find out that everything will happen like this, easily, because you have been able to put your mind through the process. So it's the same thing. When you're able to think your parenting journey ahead, pathway to effectively parent your child to find purpose. This is our premium course, and every parent something thankful, something good testimonial to say, okay, after it. In this course, we teach you how to position your thing that that they do, right? We help you look at their talents and interests. We help suggest mentors, okay, in the areas of your children's interest, so that you begin to hone them. We help you teach. If you are getting value from this group, please invite your friends, invite your family members, invite parents who are ready to be true mentors to their children, who are ready to look inward, close their eyes, picture what they want for their children, are able to embody that thing. Know that if there's going to be just one person, if there's just going to be just two people in this life, that no matter what happens, right, you are helping them become the best version of themselves. All right, people, we have another session on Saturday where I will be hosting our guests them once in a month in the group. So for this month, we're going to be talking about the effect of childhood experiences in the person that your children could become, or in the person that some of us became, how our childhood affected us. I'll be sharing my experience, and my guest will be sharing her experience. Okay, my guest is a friend from over 20 years ago, so it's going to be a lot of laughter, but a lot of